Hello friends, my name is Tej. Today I will be going to explain about CDISC. Before starting this presentation, I would like to ask about to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Niharika and I'm done with B Pharma and even SAS. I want to continue my career in clinical domain. So I want to learn CDISC.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I done BPAP and even SAS. I want to continue my career in clinical domain, so I want to learn CDs.
Thank you, Soumya. So, what is CDISC? So, CDISC basically stands for Clinical Data Interchange Standard Consortium. So, why we require the CDISC? So during the clinical trial data needs to submit to FDA for approval to sell the drug in the market. Before sending the clinical trial data to FDA, the drug development companies need to standardize the data. So for standardizing the data, they have to follow the CDISC. So here the CDISC is a multidisciplinary neutral non-profit standard development organization. It was found in 1997 and their main intention is to develop and support global platform independent data standards that enable information system interoperability to improve medical research and related areas of healthcare. So the vision of CDISC is to inform patient care and safety through higher quality medical research. So even during the time of clinical trials, the main aim of the CDISC is to maintain the patient safety and care during the trial. This is the main vision of the CDISC. So basically, CDISC is divided into two parts. It contains two components. One is SDTM and one more is the ADaM. So what is SDTM means? SDTM stands for Study Data Tabulation Module. So how this SDTM is used and why do we require this SDTM? So SDTM is generally used to standardize the data. So what do you mean by standardization? So let me explain you that. So I can give you that with an example. Give me a second, guys. I'm opening that. So for example, suppose we have three drug development companies. Okay, we got three drug development companies. Let's say drug development company A, drug development company B, and drug development company C. So the three drug development companies, they prepare three different types of drugs. Previously, before introduction of the series, what happened is the data what they used to collect during the trials are like of their own. There were no standards. For example, during the trial, for example, a drug development company called A, if they collected the values for gender like female and male in a variable called sex. When we talk about another drug development company B, they have collected the variable values and name as for the same sex, the variable and label names as female and male, female and male, and they collected in a variable called gender. And for this drug development C, they have collected the values in a different form. Like for example, they have taken the names in a numeric form. For example, say something 5 for female and some 6 for male. So they have collected in the variable called sex and sex number. What happened here is the three drug development companies have to submit their data to get the approval to FDA. But here what happened is, to review these three drug development companies data, the FDA taking very much time. Why? Because here if you check, it does following a different terminology, and here it does following this another company following a different terminology to represent the male and female, and drug C, drug development company C, following a different terminology to represent the male and female. So what happening here is, it's taking a lot of time for the FDA to review the process or clinical trial data. Because of that, the drug development process taking very much time. So in order to avoid that problem, the FDA has appointed a non-profit organization called CDISC. So CDISC has set some standards. It has set some standards like, if you are submitting a clinical trial data to the FDA, you have to maintain the values in a certain manner. So what does that mean? For example, if you talk about the gender value, it should collect the gender value like F and M, and it should be collected in a variable called sex. Okay, so if any company is collecting the values in the form of female and male, they have to change it to F and F. And if any company collecting the data as 5 and 6, they have to convert it from the F and M, and they have to keep the values in a variable called sex. So what happened is they have standardized the data into one form. So as a result, what happened is the FDA got the time, like it understood the rules, and it is taking very less time to review the data and to process the data and to give the approval for the drug development. So as a result, the time taking for the get the approval has reduced. So that is the main reason to standardize the data. Okay, so you got any doubt? You understood? Both Niharika and Soumya?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, we can
this is the
understand.
reason they have introduced the CDISC concept. Okay, so in the CDISC, when we're talking of the SDTM, so main purpose of SDTM is, like, SDTM stands for Study Data Tabulation Model. Why this SDTM requires means, by using this SDTM, they will be standardizing the data. So what is this SDTM? SDTM is nothing but it's a document. So we completely call it as a Study Data Tabulation Module Implementation Guide. Okay, so this SDTM-IG is a guide from which we will be getting the rules to standardize the data. Okay, so we will follow this guide to standardize our information of the clinical trial data. So if you go through that, so SDTM was developed by a special team called SDS. There is a special team called SDS, which is Submission Data Standards. This team will develop this SDTM. So currently we are using the version 3.2. The current version of SDTM is 3.2 version. Okay. So what is the intention of the SDTM is? I said you. The intention of the SDTM is to standardize the information. So standardize the clinical trial data information. Okay. So what is the advantage of this SDTM? So the advantage is, I said you, like, reviewers will have less preparation time to work more effectively on the data. So it will be helping the reviewers to work on the data much effectively with less preparation of time, and it's a cost effective. So how it is cost effective means, for example, if you talk about the FDA, so to review the non-standard data, it is taking very much time for the FDA. So in turn, it is taking very much manpower to understand, to review the data. Okay, so because it's a non-standard one, so it's like it does have many code lists, and to understand the code list and to convert it back into the standard form, it is taking very much time, as well as it is even money also there. It's we like they have plenty of money also using over there for the manpower. But what happened is, because standardizing this data, they can cut off this time. As a result, in turn, they can reduce the cost. So as well as the manpower also they can reduce, because the reviewers are practiced and they are like trained on the standard data, and they could able to understand the data once it comes from the drug development companies. So as a result, they can much understand it with less preparation of time. That's the main reason of SDTM. So what is a domain? So we will be having a terminology called domain in the SDTM. So what is a domain means? Domain is nothing but it's a logically related observations with a common topic. For example, like, what is a logically related observation? So what is an observation? So observation is nothing but in the while we learning SAS, we'll be having rows, right? Rows are called as observations and records. So here, how we are explaining a domain means domain is defined as a logically related observation with a common topic. For example, let me say you very clearly. For example, we'll be getting the data from the data collection tools. So what is a data collection tool means in the clinical trial? CRF. So CRF stands for clinical report form. So this clinical report form will be having different types of clinical report form. So for example, let me take a clinical report form which only carries subject information. For example, if you take a clinical report form, we'll be having subject name, age, sex, weight, height. These information will be captured in one CRF. Okay. So from the CRF, is only capture the subject information, subject level information. It means subject age, subject ID, and ID is nothing but the identity of the subject. We'll be giving a number. Okay, subject BMI is height, weight. These values will be captured in the CRF. Okay, that CRF, that data will be transformed to the data management team. So this data management team will capture the information from the CRF, then in turn they will be converted into SAS data sets. Okay. So here when we talk about the CRF, which captures only subject level information, it will be considered as one domain. Okay. Like that will be, for example, if a subject is subject got adverse event. Adverse event is nothing but side effect. During the trial, if a subject got adverse event, then that adverse event will be captured in another CRF. Okay, for adverse event we'll be only holding one CRF, so separately. Okay, in that we'll be capturing the subject information. So this adverse event information. So this adverse event information again in turn given to the data management team. So this data management team will take out the information from the CRF and they'll be transferring to into the data sets. So here that adverse event information will be considered as a one domain. Okay, so the subject level information in the SDTM is captured in a domain. That domain is named as demographic. Okay, that domain is represented as demographic. Similarly, for adverse event, we call it as adverse event domain. Okay, similarly for medical history, for example, if a subject does have any medical problem, like does have any history of some surgery, or if it does have any history of disease, that will be collected in a different CRF. Okay, so for everything we'll be having a different CRF. Okay, CRF stands for case report form. So that information will be collected and that information will be captured. Then that information will be sent to the data management team, and the data management team in turn it will be converted to data set. Okay, that will be considered as a domain. Okay, so this is what domain means. So each domain is represented in a data set. So when we talk about the SDTM, each domain is represented in a data set. So what is the naming of a domain? So naming of a domain is always followed with a two unique characters. For example, if you talk about demographic will be only having a two unique character DM. Adverse event will be having a two unique values, that is AE, and medical history also having two unique characters, that is MH. Like that we will be having this two characters code for naming of a data set, which in turn represent a domain. Okay, now what are the variables? So variables already we know in the SAS, like variables are nothing but columns, but in SAS, in SDTM, the variables are classified into two types. So based on the core and based on role. So we have two different terms called role and core. I will explain it now. So what is a role? So based on role, variables are classified into 5 types: identifiers, topic, timing, and variable, and qualifiers. Okay. So in the qualifier, they have been further classified into grouping qualifiers, record qualifier, synonym qualifier, variable qualifier, and result qualifier. And one more thing we have is the rule variable. Okay. So based on role, the variables are classified into 5 types: identifiers, topic, timing, qualifiers, and rule variables. So in the qualifier further classified into grouping, record, synonym, variable, and result qualifier. Now when we talk about the based on code, it has been classified into 3 types. One is required, expected, and permissible. Okay. Now let me explain you about the identifiers. So identifier variables are the variables which identify any particular value. For example, when we talk in the clinical trial, so in the clinical trial, the subject or the patient will not be identified with his name. Okay, so each patient or subject will be given with a unique ID. Okay, unique identity number will be given to the subject. So that unique identity will be called as subject ID or U subject ID. We'll be having two terms, one is subject ID and U subject ID. So like let's consider a subject ID. Okay, so subject ID is a unique value which represent a subject. Okay, so this subject ID is considered as a variable in the domain. Okay, it captures the values of different subject IDs. Okay, so this if you talk about subject ID, for example, if Niharika and Somya, you both are there in the clinical trial, and so for example, if I want to identify you, I will be identifying you by going through your subject ID. Okay, so your subject ID will represent the subject will represent you. Okay, here, so these subject ID will be comes under identifiers. Okay, so anything which identifies something, anything like any some value, particular value comes under identifiers. Similarly, we got the study ID. So every study will be having a identity. So by going through that, we can identify the domain. So like identify the we can identify the study that comes under identifier. Okay, so the variables which identify something particular value that comes under identifier. Okay, what is a topic variable? Topic variable is a variable which discuss to a particular topic. For example, when we talk about adverse event domain, the domain will only speaks about adverse events which happen to the subject during the trial. So it means the topic is an adverse event. So here the adverse event variable will be represented with a topic, will be considered under topic variable. Okay, let's come to topic variable. Let's come to the timing variable. So during the trial, we'll be having the timing variables like when the study was started, when it got ended to a subject. These timings, this timing information will be captured in the under the timing variable. Okay, and qualifiers. What are qualifiers? Qualifiers are nothing but these are the additional variables which will be added to the original results to complete the information. For example, if we talk about a weight of a subject ID, we will be saying, for example, if a subject is weighing around some 60 kgs, so we will be saying 60 kgs. The kgs is the unit. So without giving kgs, we cannot identify if you give 60, because 60 might be a pound, or it may be a kg, or it may be some ton. So because like we cannot expect it correctly, to in order to make it perfectly, we need to specify the units after the 60. So this kg will be help you to identify the weight of a particular subject. Okay, so these kind of this kg, these kind of values will be captured in the qualifiers. So in the qualifiers, we have 5 types of qualifier, that is grouping qualifier, record qualifier, synonym qualifier, variable qualifier, and result qualifier. Okay, so in turn, how these grouping qualifiers are classified, I will be explaining in the regular classes. Again, we got one more variable, that is rule variable. What is a rule variable means? Rule variable you can find only in trial design model domains. Okay, so in the planner domains you can find this rule variable. So I will be explaining after that in the regular classes. And when we talk about the core variables are of 3 types: required, expected, permissible. What is a required means? The variable should be collected in the domain and the value should not be null. Okay, for example, if you're capturing a variable, it should be required and the value should not be null. And what is expected means the variable should be collected and its value may be null. Okay, it may be null or may not be null. If we talk about expected, it's not necessary that every time you get a complete values in the expected variable. It may be null, but you should present the variable in the domain. Okay, now when we talk about permissible variable, if the variable doesn't have any values, then you can drop the variable from the domain. Okay, that comes under permissible variable. Drop means you can take it out. Okay, you can take it out from the domain. So based on that, we classified the variable based on code. We have classified into three types. One is required, expected, and permissible. These are the variables which we can find it in the SD domain. Now, classification of domains. So we just learn like what is a domain. So each domain is represented with a data set. So these domains have been classified into four types. One is the special purpose, and second one is the general observation class. So in the general observation class, further it divided into three types. One is the interventions, and one is the events, and one is the findings. So in the intervention, so when you talk about the special purpose, let's talk with the special purpose. So in the special purpose class, we'll be having four types of domains, that is demographic, common, subject visit, and subject elements. And when we talk about general observation class, in the general observation class further divided into three domains: interventions, events, and findings. So in the interventions, we will be having exposure, procedure, concomitant medication, and exposure as collected. And in the events, we'll be having four domains, that is adverse event, medical history, disposition event, and clinical events. Okay, in the findings, we'll be having many domains. So in that, important domains are lab domain, vital sign domain, subject characteristics, EG domain, EG for ECG. Okay, EG domain, and tumor response. Like that, we'll be having many domains, but in that the main domains are lab and vital sign. Okay, so these are about the classification of domains. So these are the different domains we'll be having in the SDTM. And apart from that, we'll be having a separate domain called trial design model. So what is this trial design model is, before starting the trial, they will be designing the protocol and the study. Okay, so what is a protocol means? Protocol is nothing but it's a complete, you will be it's a document. You will be finding a complete information about the trial. Okay, so by using the protocol, they will be designing the trial, whether it's a parallel study or a crossover study. They will be designing the trial. So while they're designing the trial, so first they will be designing the trial design models. So trial design models means it's a planned domains. So in the trial design models, what will be having mean trial arm, trial element, trial visit, trial inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, trial summary, and trial disease assessment. In that, we will be getting 6 domains in trial design model. Okay, these are the planned domains. Okay, trial design model are the planned domains. Planned, why we are calling me planned means they are designed before starting of the study. Okay, before collecting the information from the subjects. Now, once the data got standardized, the data will be flown from the next step, that is for the analysis. So let me show you the flow chart. So see here, I'm sorry for that. Okay, so here if you check here, first it started with the planning. So it started with the planning. So planning means, I said you like, by using protocol we'll design the study. So once the study got designed, then the information will be passed in the data collection. I mean to say, here once the study got designed, so data collection means, I explained you, like CRF, they'll be collecting the data through CRF from the subjects. And we'll be even getting data from the laboratory, because we'll be getting the information from the laboratory, and this entire raw data will be sent for the standardization through this SDTM. So this will passing through the SDTM. Okay, so here we'll be standardizing the data. Okay, the standardizing data, then it will be sent to the analysis. Okay, data analysis. So what is the data analysis? So why do we do data analysis? So data analysis means, before generating the reports and listings and figures, so tables, so before generating the reports, which includes tables, listings, and figures, we will be creating the ADaM data sets. So what is the ADaM data sets means? These are nothing but the analysis data models. Okay, so ADaM stands for analysis data model. So why do we require means, to do analysis, to create the analysis data sets. Okay, to create the analysis data sets. So we know that while generating the report, we'll be using like summary stats, like proc means. By using proc means, we'll be creating the standard deviation, maximum, minimum. These values we'll be creating. Okay, so these analysis, before sending the data set to the analysis, we'll be creating the analysis data sets. So this analysis data set will be created at the ADaM level. Okay, so ADaM stands for analysis data model. Okay, why we require this analysis means, like, to based on the analysis we can predict that to launch this drug in the market or not. Okay, so what is this ADaM data sets? This ADaM data sets are nothing but these are like one step away from the report. Okay, why we call it one step away from the report means, this data set will be sent to the like the data set will be directly, now next step is like it is used for the doing this statistical calculation. We will be using it to do this statistical calculation. That's the reason we'll be calling one step away from the report. Now in this also we got variables in the ADaM. The variables have been classified into three types. So what are those means? One is the required, okay, and second one is the conditional, and third one is the permissible. So how we classify the variables in the SDTM level, similarly here also the variables have been classified into required, conditional, and permissible. Here required means the variable should present in the domain and the value should not be null. And when we talk about conditional, here there it's we call it as expected, but here it's called as conditional. Here the value can be included in the domain and the value of that variable should not be null. The variable can be included in the domain and the value should not be null. Okay, so based on the condition, we to include that variable or to decline that variable, it depends. Okay, that is the conditional variable. Let's go to the what is the permissible variable means. Same. So when no values are collected in the variable, then you can drop that variable from the domain. Those variables are called permissible domains. So what is the classification? So in the ADaM we have got three classification. One is the ADSL, and second one is the BDS, and third one is the non-BDS. So ADSL stands for analysis data subject level. Okay, it only captures the subject level information. Okay, here you only get the subject level information. How can we create this ADSL means? We can create this ADSL by combining the information from the demographic, exposure, and many other domains. So I will be explaining now. So let's talk about BDS. BDS stands for basic data structure, and non-BDS means we will be having certain domains which comes under non-BDS. Okay, how can we create this ADSL? So ADSL, I said you, like, it only gives the subject level information. Okay, okay, what do you mean by subject level information means? You will be only having subject information. Apart from that, you won't find any other information like clinical trial information or any other information. You won't find the ADSL. And it is how we can create this ADSL means, it is formed by a combination of many SDTM data sets. Okay, what are the data sets means, like will be found by demographic, disposition, exposition, medical history. Like by concatenating this data set, we'll be creating this ADSL data set. Okay, so why do we require this ADSL means, we require this ADL to create tables and listings. The tables like demographic tables, and listings also like demographic listings. Okay, so what is the demographic means, it captures only subject level information there. Okay, so I will be creating the tables of demographic. So next come to the BDS structure. So when we talk about the BDS structure, BDS stands for basic data structure. So it includes domains like ADBS, ADLB, ADEG, and ADCM. Okay, so mostly all the finding domains in the SDTM will be comes under BDS. Okay, and when we talk about it, it supports the parametric and non-parametric analysis, which include ANCOVA and ANOVA. It means you will be calculating the efficacy of the drug in this from this BDS structure. Okay, so how this BDS dataset going to help us? This analysis datasets are required for creating essential table like shift and change from baseline tables. Okay, that is about BDS structure. Now let's come to the next one. This is non-BDS structure. So what is a non-BDS structure means? It includes analysis dataset like ADAE, ADMH, ADDS. Okay, so these structures are like different from the like BDS and ADSL. Just these non-BDS structure only include ADAE, ADMH, and ADDS. So what is ADAE means? Like it, these datasets are created by, for example, if we talk about ADAE, the dataset will be created by only like capturing the information from the demo ADSL as well as from the adverse event domain. Okay, the of the ADSL of the ADaM domain and adverse event domain of the SDTM domain will be concatenating it and will be like creating the non-BDS structures. Okay, for if we talk about ADA, similarly for ADMH also, for creating of the ADMH we will be using the ADSL structure of the ADaM and a medical history structure of the SDTM. We'll be concatenating it and we'll be creating the non-BDS structure. Okay, so why we require means we can make analysis tables like treatment emergent adverse event, and these kind of tables can be created by using this non-BDS structures. Now let me show you, by using SAS and by using the CDISC rules we'll be creating the tables, listings and figures. So how the tables look? So what are the tables? First of all, tables are nothing but these are the reports. They are the customized reports which contain this summary stats. Okay, summary stats means statistical calculations like n, mean, median, standard deviation, minimum and maximum. So we're going to develop these kind of reports. So this is an example of demographic, okay, demographic table. Okay, this is a demographic table. So it's here it captured age variable and sex variable and race variable. So this is how we're going to represent the tables for the tables. It's a table of demographic. Okay, so here it includes the summary stat. Okay, this is about table. Let's talk about, so like the summary stat will be created like this. Like here they like here they calculated the proc freq, and they, by using proc frequency they have calculated the count. Okay, so this count will has represented in the table. And next we talk with the next one, that is listings. So listings are nothing but these are also the customized reports, but these reports are without any summary stat. It's just basically a report. Okay, like this. It doesn't include any summary stat. Summary stat means statistical calculations. Simply just we show our report. Okay, so after that we got tables. Okay, this is also a listings. Now we done with the tables and we done with the listings. Now we just remain with the figures. So what are the figures? Figures are nothing but, we even call it as graphs. Okay, so we got different types of graphs. So for example, let me show you a graph called bars and scatter plots. So these graphs are called bar graphs and these are called scatter plots. So we will be creating, by using SAS knowledge, we will be creating the bars and the scatter plots. Okay, and we will be having horizontal, vertical bars and pie charts in the figures. So these are the bars. Will be having two types. One is the horizontal bars, like this is the horizontal bars, and this is the vertical bars. So by using that, we will be creating the, okay, we'll be creating the these figures, as well as we'll be even creating the pie charts. Okay, we'll be even creating the pie chart. This is a pie chart. Okay, we'll be even creating the pie chart by using SAS. Okay, this all represents the clinical trial information. Okay, so by using this SAS and CDISC knowledge, we'll be creating the HETM and the ADaM domains, and we'll be creating the figures. Okay, so thank you guys. This is about the CDISC presentation which I want to give it now. So thank you for watching this video. So if you do have any doubt, please visit at Hambridge Online Training, or please email us at www.hambridgeonlinetraining.com. Okay, our contact information are like it's given in the slide. So thank you for watching it once again. So Somya and Harika, if you do have any doubt, you can ask me the questions. Okay guys, do you got any more doubts?
Yeah, what is the duration of the course?
Uh, is it will take around 30 to 35 days to complete this class. Okay, so in this entire
Okay.
course will be teaching you entire the STTM and ADaM and the tables and reports and listings. So we'll be giving
Uh-huh.
a real-time data and you will be working on that one project. So it's almost take 30 to
Mm.
35 days course.